This is Winona's Thoughts on MLP FIM Season 5, Episode 15, Rarity Investigates. All rights go to Hasbro and VHX for the awesomeness that they create. Thank you! Winona, this is never gonna end. Yeah!
Hello everybody, this is Winona here. I am going to talk again, as I did in my last video, about what I thought about the last episode that was on before the leaked episode, the one on the Saturday, which was Rarity Investigates. Rarity Investigates is one probably not as close to my heart in terms of the lesson. The lesson being something about not doing bad stuff. Don't do bad stuff, guys. It's wrong. There probably is another lesson in there somewhere. I'm just not quite remembering what the lesson was. Perhaps it wasn't as memorable as some of the other ones. I did enjoy the episode, however. I am a classic mystery lover. I like watching mystery programs, and I like reading mystery books. So I do understand a bit of the genre. And one of my favorite episodes of MLP, which I always ask people to look at, is the mystery on the Friendship Express, which is loosely based on, of course, Mystery of the Orient Express, which is an Agatha Christie book. Agatha Christie being one of my favorite writers. So, mystery is something I understand. And if I was to compare Rarity Investigates and Mystery, I would say that Mystery probably had more going for it on the actual investigation side, whereas Rarity Investigates, whilst not being the greatest mystery in the world because it was fairly obvious from the beginning who had actually done it, other than that, it was a great example of character development for Rarity and for Rainbow Dash. And I think all of the characters pretty much came off really well in this episode. You got to see another side of Rarity. She likes mystery books. She likes a character called Shadow Spade, and I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of stories floating around now on fanfiction and fanfiction.net about Shadow Spade and all their crazy adventures that she must get into, flirting with people. Or it could be something akin to Daring Do, and people could be writing stories where she is actually real. And then it ends up on the show. And everybody yells at the show for doing something fanfiction-y. Me personally, I would love to write a Shadow Spade story. I do write mysteries a lot. I do other things a lot, but I'm not probably going to be one of those that writes the Shadow Spade stories, because I don't feel like I have the ability of some writers. Apologies if you can hear anything outside of my window. Canada High School is a very busy high school, as you must know. What else can I say about Rarity Investigates? There was the Philly noir style of Rarity's investigations, all dark and mysterious, and looking around like, I think I have a clue, but I can't tell them. But I should, but I won't. That kind of thing. Well, Rainbow Dash was more of the brash, bad cop, good cop, I'll slam in your face type person. Or pony. I really liked Rarity's musings, and what I really liked was whenever she came out and did the very cliche joke of, oh, did I say that out loud? It came off realistically, came off in the exact moments where they should be. And I like it when they come off realistically, because of course all of us at some point have that inner monologue coming out when we don't realize. And Rarity seems like the sort of pony who would have that kind of thing, where she's constantly thinking to herself. I mean, we already seen in other episodes that Rarity muses to herself a lot. mean, in suited for success, she's flinging herself all around the room, talking about where she should go, should she pack warm. She's the sort of pony who says things out loud to herself, rather than thinking them in her head. So it makes sense that she sometimes breaks out of the thought bubble that she's created for herself. As a character, I still think Rarity is one of the most developed. Pony Profiles is probably going to go more into the characters, though, later on, so I don't want to step on their turf. Rainbow Dash is becoming a Wonderbolt. A Wonderbolt reserve. She flew for the Wonderbolts this time, though. She took the place of a veteran of the Wonderbolts, which is a big step up for her if she's being put on the same peg as a Wonderbolt, as a famous Wonderbolt. I do like the fact, one of the things I really liked about the episode is they were leading all the way up to the fact that Rainbow Dash could easily beat this guy's record, Wind Glider's record. And in the end, even though we can probably tell that she did beat the record because she managed to get Spitfire in time for the show and managed to get all the way back without any effort on her face compared to Spitfire, but I like the fact they never mentioned that she got the record. That's good, because she wasn't being timed. They knew she could beat the record. She didn't think she could beat the record. She probably did inside knowing Rainbow Dash, but that's just showing a bit of her maturity from the early series to now. I don't know if you've seen the Mentally Advanced series episode 1, but they're always talking about the fact she wants attention. And over the course of the show, Rainbow Dash has needed less attention. She still wants to be a Wonderbolt and everything, but she doesn't want to let it get in the way of any of her other things or ever duties or her loyalties. But I love the fact that in the end they didn't ever mention that she'd broken the record, because it meant that Rainbow Dash had a lot more chance to prove herself. She was proving herself to them not on the speed that it took to get her there, but the fact that she actually managed to save the day, and she managed to help a friend. So, after all, we knew from the Wonderbolts Academy that Rainbow Dash and Lightning Dust broke a lot of records. And that was all that mattered to Spitfire and the other Wonderbolts. What they learned by the end of the episode wasn't really the Rainbow Dash lesson, but there was a lesson for the Wonderbolts that it's not all about breaking records. It's about caring for other ponies, caring for your friends, and caring for your teammates, which is something that they picked on this episode. So the idea that even though we could clearly see that Rainbow Dash had broken the record, they still didn't say it and focused entirely on the fact that she'd saved a teammate and a friend. That is learning a lesson from Wonderbolts Academy that I think is so minute and so many people wouldn't recognize it on first watch, that it's just astounding to see that kind of minute detail put into one tiny bit of footage. And that is one of my favorite episodes. That is one of my favorite things about the episode, is what I meant to say. What else can I say about the episode? I mean, there was so much going on. And obviously it seemed a bit fast-paced, and sometimes it felt like it was not going too well, like it wasn't going to go very far, but I mean, again, we already knew who the villain was going to be. It was obvious from the start. Even if you hadn't seen the synopsis, it probably would have been easy to guess for you. I've seen a lot of people saying that for a child, they wouldn't be able to figure it out as quickly because they're not as astute to murder mysteries as us. And in some ways, yes, I agree with that. But in other ways, I really don't. When I was younger and I started reading mystery books, I didn't know of any of the cliches or anything, obviously, because I'd never seen them before. But I would have still been able to figure it out. I don't think it really entirely matters how adept you are at noticing cliches or things in films or anything like that, or how astute you are. I think it's more to do with the fact that some people are wired that way that they can see that kind of thing. So I think there is going to be children out there, and there probably is going to be a lot of children out there who can solve this really easily. But I think the point is, in this episode, it's not about the mystery, it's about the friendship. because friendship's what the show's all about in the first place. It's a rare time we get to see a Rarity and Rainbow Dash episode, for one thing, so we really do want to focus on the relationship between them, since we've never really seen it before, since at least the first season on Sonic Rainbow. And even that, we didn't really see them talking to each other much. We just saw Rarity blushing over other people, and well, they barely had a line between them as far as I remember in that episode. So we really needed to focus on the friendship and the relationship in this episode to basically show that they do have a life outside of their main six. I don't know if I can take this on any longer. I don't really have that much else to say. Or do I? Other than the fact that the Wonderbolts are all team building and stuff like that. I do think Winglider is a good character as well. I'm particularly interested in him. I mean, he's obviously of the old Wonderbolt way of thinking, the Wonderbolt way of thinking that we saw in not Rainbow Falls. We saw it in Rainbow Falls as well, but we saw it in Wonderbolt's Academy first. He's got the old way of thinking. He represents what the Wonderbolts used to be. And we saw in this episode what they're becoming now because of Rainbow Dash. And that shows that Rainbow Dash is having an effect on the Wonderbolts, even if she herself doesn't realize it. She is not only changing herself in character development, but changing others around her. And that's why I think MLP is a very rare show. It doesn't often happen that way, that these minor characters can learn something from each other. And that brings in the new Wonderbolts that we haven't seen before. I can't quite remember their names. One looked a bit like Fleetfoot, and I think Andrea was doing her voice again, but less croaky. And then one was called Sonar or Solar or something like that. And then a few of the other background ones, of course. And I saw Fleetfoot there, but she didn't speak. It's good that Fleetfoot didn't speak as well. I know that some people were annoyed about that, but if Fleetfoot spoke, well, she'd be like Spitfire. She cares about Wonderbolt. She cares about Rainbow Dash after Rainbow Falls. So it would be kind of silly if she spoke. I know that some people wouldn't like that, but if she spoke, it might have broken the story a bit more. The reason we got rid of Spitfire in the first place is because she was one of the main people or ponies who learned from Rainbow Dash. But we got to see Solar or Sonar, and we got to see the Minty, I'm going to call it a Minty Fleetfoot. And they both seem to be halfway between Winglider and what Spitfire and Soren and Fleetfoot are becoming, because they didn't get the lesson from Rainbow Dash in the first place. But they're not horrible ponies, like Winglider appeared to be. So they are learning along with him, and we see in the course of the episode that they're changing just as quickly as Spitfire and Soren is. What else can we say? The fact that they jumped to conclusions, I think, is the only thing I don't really like about the episode. They really did jump to conclusions about Rainbow Dash. And as soon as Winglider said, unless somebody else replaced her, you could easily see that it was him. There was no way not anyone would pick up on that. But the way they jump to conclusions is a bit weird, and especially the way they say, oh, if you did it, then you can't be a Wonderbolt. It's ironic that they say that, because they say they support team members and things, but obviously in Rainbow Falls, Spitfire and Fleetfoot didn't really do that for Soren. Although they didn't intentionally, I think, diss him. They did diss him. I don't know what else to think about that. Rainbow Dash is the one teaching them to be better, and hopefully Rainbow Dash might teach them that rule should be bended a little bit to actually help out ponies like Winglider who are thinking a certain way, and helping out ponies like Lightning Dust who also think a certain way about the Wonderbolts. So I hope that Rainbow Dash, over the course of time, very slowly, will actually help them bend that rule a little bit, to give ponies second chances. Like Discord was given a second chance to be reformed, and Luna was given a second chance to be reformed. Everybody in the show, if friendship really is magic, deserves a chance to be reformed. I'm just going to end this here since I'm going up to 14 minutes now, but I really did hope you enjoyed this video. It really is just my musings on the episodes. I don't know why the last one got so many views. But really, do feel free to comment in the video because I really do want to hear about what you guys think about my thoughts about the show, about how awful these videos must be. As for Burning Ember's reactions, I should mention she's not going to have another one up for maybe a week or so, not because she doesn't want to, because she does, but because she needs to buy the software that she got free. That was a trial period that she did those last videos in, and she needs to buy a new one. So she's waiting for the time when she actually has money to do that. There's not really much else I can say other than I hope you enjoyed again, and please comment, and if you want to like, do. If you don't want to like, don't. If you want to subscribe and hear more musings later on, I will be probably doing more musings because I do quite enjoy thinking about this kind of stuff. And, well, how does Ember end her? How do we end our stupid videos? Good luck, Applejack. How did I end the last one? Let's just say sayonara, s'il vous plaît. Sayonara, s'il vous plaît. Let's just mix two languages. Sayonara, s'il vous plaît.